Can we not put anything on my face? It's so 奇怪.
It's just that thing though.
No, 我不要，我不要。Okay, 可以吧? All right. Are you live on YouTube and Facebook yet? Hi everyone. I'm Mirai Cloud. Hi. Okay. I think it's a bit laggy, but other than that, it's fine. All right. Could we join the? Okay. Okay, welcome everyone. All right, so today we are gonna go through some model compositions as well as vocab. Okay, I will also be giving you guys a sneak. Are we using this? Okay. Ooh. We have a cool new mic today that I used just now, but yeah. All right. Ooh. All right. So yeah. We will also be sharing about our ebooks. Okay, so as some of you guys may know, we do have our own set of ebooks with like a nicely curated set of compositions, model compositions that have gotten good grades, as well as vocab lists, and yeah, we have all those prepared for you guys. And these are all ready for purchase on Podia. You guys can all find all of that in our website. So, but definitely, if you guys have any questions, you guys could just let me know, and I will try to answer them for you guys the best I can. All right, thank you guys so much for the likes. Yeah. So let's begin. I think I need to move there a bit because I see like my face is kind of cut off on this. Oh no, it's getting worse. Okay, there we go. Okay, as you guys can see over here, we have our ebooks. Oh, I should maybe. Okay, there we go. Our oral ebooks, okay? So for those of you guys who are seeing me for the first time, hi, I'm teacher Jia. Sorry. Yeah, it's not. Oh. Oh, oops. Okay. Minor error. This one's correct. The rest is correct. The rest is correct. Don't worry. Okay. So we're here. Thank you so much for sharing the live, everyone. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. PSLE model composition. All right. So now we have this available. It is made of compositions that are the full marks brand new series of 25 model compositions that are specially written to tackle challenging top school exam questions. Okay, now every model composition is crafted with a unique twist and a realistic story plot based on true events or news. Okay, a vocab list, just like what we've always been going through in our TikTok lives, a vocab list is attached to every model composition for students to beef up their vocab bank. Okay, so maybe if your vocab bank is feeling a bit empty, this is a good option for you. Okay, and it's also very good for easy reference. So sometimes my students do ask me, how do we beef up our vocab bank? If you want to do it on your own, that is an option. I'm just gonna say that we can do it for you, so that's another option. But definitely for vocab banks, I would say one of the easiest way to begin is through reading and noting down synonyms. Now, if you were to start adding words here and there, it would be very hard, and you have a lot of variation in your words. And the issue with that is that you don't know where to look when you are writing a composition, and it's very hard for you to remember. Okay, you'll be spending even more time to memorize, and that's not what we want over here. Memorization is good, but we also want effective memorization and effective use of time. Okay, so what is one way that really helps with fast memorization and for students to effectively, very efficiently pick up vocab is through the use of synonyms. That means when, let's say, you see a very nice phrase and you think, oh, I should write this down in my vocab list. Then you write it down and you think of what other synonyms are there, and then you add the synonyms. Okay, so there is that train of thought over there, which will definitely help when it comes to memorization. Also, if you are struggling, you could definitely use definitely start with emotions, words that emotive language such as happiness, sadness, then you find your synonyms and you remember it that way. Those are all good options. Okay. But what I'm saying is that over here, when it comes to our PSLE model composition, we provide that for you in this product. So if you're feeling a bit strapped for time, if you don't really have the means to make that vocab bank at the moment, this is definitely a very good option for very low cost. Of course, on Podia, there are some packages where you can get a few ebooks together for a better price. So you could definitely consider that as well. Okay, okay, so I'm gonna go through a small example of a piece within this model composition book so you guys can know what it looks like, what you might want to buy, or yeah. But do let me know if you have any questions and I will try to answer them the best I can. Alternatively, you can put your message through at the WhatsApp number above and our team will get back to you as soon as possible. All right, let's move on. Okay, this is the contents page for which branch Baru. Okay, so we have a lot of different branches. I'm not quite sure what your question is, as in which branch this is offered. Is that what you mean? Because this is actually online. Okay, so this product is sold online, so you can get that no matter where you are. Okay, even if you're overseas right now, I think you can definitely get it. What do you mean, just Kai? We'll try to answer your question the best we can. Thank you, Miss Tina, US Local Fitness. Thank you so much for liking the live. All right, let's just begin. Okay, so definitely we have this contents page. Okay, you can see over here. I don't know if I can zoom. Oh, I can zoom in. Okay. See, it's very well beefed up. You don't have any much filler words. It's you have content such as Dumb and Dumber, Ramen Warrior, My Health, My Responsibility. So it's very we're making the most of the pages. You're not buying any filler pages. Okay, you can see from here that the pages, everything has there's some content and everything. And I can assure you that this content is all going to be relevant to your progress, your academic progress, sorry. And we are going to explore that in the next section. Okay, let's look through the first one, the very first one. Dumb and Dumber. Okay. Also, if you feel like this is the moment for you, you can scan the QR code to get yours right now. Yeah, but if you feel like getting it later, you can also access it through our website. Don't yeah. All right. I'm gonna read through this with everyone, and then we. Sorry. Oh, what file you sent me? This is the file you sent me. Oh, I see, I see, I see. All right, all right, all right. We can do that. I was just gonna go through it here. Oh, okay, that's true. That's true. Okay, my bad, my bad. All right. I think I'm just gonna go through all the products we have over here first. A bit of a buffer here from my end. Um, go through all the products first, and then we are gonna switch to another device so that everyone can see some examples. Okay. It is the PSLE model composition. Okay, so this is the promo code, and so you guys can scan it, take a picture. Up to you guys. Okay. Okay, but of course, definitely, we're not only catered to PSLE, we also have O level syllabus. Okay, these are all major examinations that are going on right now or about to go on, so definitely want to cater to all of that. So, this is an O level model essay, okay? Now, for this one, we will also be showing you guys an example later on, so do not fear. Not only just gonna show one. Okay, now the key features of this is it's a targeted preparation. Okay, we'll be targeting the 2016 to 2022 O level. Okay, it'll be a comprehensive question analysis, so we'll really be breaking things down with you guys. So we're not just gonna give you the book and everything is a more do it by yourself style. No, no, no. It's a more guided learning, and we also add in some effective learning strategies, exam preparations, and language mechanics. Okay, so these are all things that are within this product. Okay, I repeat, these are all things that are within this product. And also, we also have topic specific language. So we build and learn how to use superior vocab when writing O level essays. Okay, that is something that's very, very important. Some students might learn it separately, and okay, this is the list of vocab that I should use within O level essays, but I don't exactly know how to use it. And that is problematic in its own. So over here, what we're doing is that we use topic specific language. We teach you within the topic these kind of language. So you also know how to integrate it into your compositions when the time comes. All right, so definitely do not worry. We are definitely trying to produce the best we can. We're doing so. Yeah, you can give it a try. And if you have any doubts, we are going to go through the examples later on, probably like about 5 minutes. So don't worry, just stay tuned. And if you have any questions or anything in particular that you would like to see, we're available. We will do our best to show it to you. So just comment down below or WhatsApp the number. You can see above my head over here. You guys can just WhatsApp the number, and our moderator and team will get back to you. Okay, so definitely don't fear. Okay, I'm going to show you guys the contents page for the O level model essay as well. So you guys can see for the content page, we have the 2022. I don't think this is the full contents page, right? It's not a full contents page. Okay, it's a snippet for you guys to see. Okay, so if it's a contents page, we have model compositions from the 2022. Some people enjoy being in crowded places, while others prefer somewhere quieter with fewer people. Describe your perfect place where you want to relax. So we definitely also have like different styles of essays that we're testing on. It's not like a we are not just saying, okay, this is one type and we're only going to teach you this one time. No, no, no. We're trying to be as comprehensive as possible. Okay, so definitely if you're strapped for time or if you're looking for some last minute books to consolidate everything you've learned, this is it. This is it, guys. Don't wait. This is it. All right, but like I mentioned before, consistent learning is also super important. So definitely, please don't just read this book once if you buy it and expect it to work wonders. Okay, there is a certain level of practice that you do have to put into by yourself. Okay, but definitely we are there for you. We have a bunch of resources for you available, so it's not just our regular classes. Definitely, if students need that extra support, we do have holiday programs upcoming, and you should be seeing live streams going on about it here and there. I myself just conducted a live stream previously, just around less than 15 minutes before this. So we do have all the resources you need. Okay, so if you have any questions about maybe the holiday crash courses or even the regular classes, you can always WhatsApp the number above me or comment on this live and the moderator will get back to you. All right. Other than this, we also do offer TikTok lives regularly with different teachers, so you can definitely find one that's your style. And yeah, we really try to provide resources that are as comprehensive as possible. It is actually mind-blowing. So actually just figure out what you need and yeah, reach out to us, all right? Okay, so like I said with the PSLE book, there's not much filler pages. You can see from the page count that these are all packed with as much content as possible. And the content, as you guys can see over here, it's comprehensive. It's not just directed at one specific type of composition, okay? See, I felt as though as I was on top of the world. Right about one time you felt like this. At page 26, 2021 model composition, this is something that is more descriptive, something that's more narrative based, recount based. And there's also some that requires your opinion. So we definitely try to highlight as much that could possibly come out, okay? So don't fear. Okay, now this is, I'll just show you guys a small snippet over here, but I will go through the whole example later on. Okay, so you guys can see, and there's the QR code right there if this is the moment you decide that this is something you want. Okay, so we have for all levels, we have as we not only just give you guys the answer, we give you the essay question analysis. Okay, this is something that's very, very important because teachers can just keep on giving students the model answer, but there is no point if the student doesn't learn why this model answer is correct or why it's good. And that's why it's super important. And this is something that we choose to do, that we give an essay question analysis. Okay, we tell them how to break down the question exactly, so that when they're finally doing the question on their own, they can break down the question and try to replicate the formula or the method we use to achieve such impressive works and pieces. Okay, so this is not just about showing you guys what's right. We're also teaching you guys how to get what's right. Okay, so definitely do yeah, do consider. And we also have essay exam tips. I don't know if you guys can see over here. Okay, I'll zoom in a bit for you guys to see. Okay, you guys should be able to see here that we talk about different exam tips. Okay, there is no point that you are learning, you have all the best content. As a student, I struggle with this myself as well. I knew all the best content, I knew where to get the best content, I had the best resources, but I wasn't using them effectively. And one of the biggest reasons was because I did not have the best exam strategies. Okay, I was a visual learner, I was an auditory learner, but I was not making full use of that. I was struggling in lessons. But these are things, essay tips, that students don't realize they need. Students don't realize they are out there until it's too late. But in this book, we really do provide that. See, space repetition. Now, this is something that I wish I understood better so that I was better able to incorporate that in my studies. Spaced repetition refers to a method of reviewing material at a systematic intervals. Now, it's a bit of psychology where students are prompted to have effective learning through using learning in intervals. Okay, now what happens with this is that your brain actually processes the information and puts them in different sections of your memory, and now this is using that in that light. And it's why switch rooms. Oh, we that side of the room was super cold, so we switched it. But yeah, it looks a bit, I think it looks pretty much the same. All right, but yeah, um well, what was I saying? All right, yeah, so these tips are definitely known tips. It's not just something that we just came up with. So if you guys search up spaced repetition online, there is content on it, but this is such a good way for students to become aware of different exam techniques. Okay, and then we also have the example itself, and other than the example, we also have that vocab list. Okay, we'll be going through all of that later, so you guys can take a look. Okay, so you have the vocab bank over here. You guys can roughly get an idea of what I'm talking about, but we'll go through it in detail so you guys can see how it is like if, let's say, you're going to be studying by yourself. I'm going to be narrating a bit of the thought process that I probably would have if I'm studying this for the first time with the book. Okay, so you guys can scan the QR code if this is the moment that you guys feel that this is right for you. You guys can scan the QR code now. But if any questions, please let me know. You guys can text the moderator in the chat, or you guys can send us a WhatsApp above me right now. And yeah, just let us know if there's anything. Okay, so we come to the end of this presentation. I will be switching to another device so that we can go through the examples bit by bit. We can switch. How do I? Where you're from? I'm from Singapore. And yeah, we are located in Singapore. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, so for the example, you guys should be able to see it over here. Okay, it's a bit blurred. Okay, you guys should be able to see it here. So over here we have the contents page. You guys can actually take a look at it right here now. Okay, showed this to you guys previously, but now we'll be going through the questions really, really quickly. Okay. Oh, you can't really see it properly. Okay, let's just adjust it so everyone can see. Okay. Okay. I sniffed tearily as I tugged at brother's sleeve with a trembling hand. I'm sorry, brother. I swear it was an accident. I'm sorry. I cried plaintively. Brother did not even look in my direction as he yanked his sleeve out of my hand and stalked away. I trailed behind him, repeating my apology like a broken recorder. No matter how much I apologized, brother refused to acknowledge my existence. I felt like I was being sliced into ribbons, the deadly silence that he wielded cutting me deep with every failed apology. I've never seen brother so furious in my life, and I did not know how to put an end to this silent treatment. Fixing my eyes on Kiki, the family cat, tweening itself apologetically around my legs. The memory of what caused the silent treatment started replaying in my mind. Okay, so you can see over here that there's definitely a lot of vocab used over here. There are a lot of moments where he could have just used the writer could have just used the word said, but there was different choices like I'm sorry, I swear I was an accident, I cried. Okay, repeating my apology. Okay, no matter how I apologized. Okay, a lot of different ways of saying, and my no matter how I apologized, but I refused to acknowledge my existence. I felt I was being sliced into ribbons. Okay, so a lot of similes, a lot of metaphors over here. Deadly silence. Silence is not just silent; it is deadly. There is really that use of hyperboles, that extremity that really highlights how the narrator is feeling in the moment. Okay, I have never seen brothers so furious in my life, and I did not know how to put an end to this silent treatment. Okay, again, good vocab that is very topic specific. Fixing my eyes on Kiki, the family cat. Okay, so there's definitely good use of adding information. So you're not just saying Kiki, because if you just said Kiki, who is Kiki? Nobody will know. But if you say the family cat, everyone understands, and it becomes a very comprehensive, very engaging composition with that addition to detail that makes people feel like they are part of the story. Okay, the memory of what causes silent treatment start replaying to my mind. So you can see that bit of structure where there is that section of transition. There is that bit of why are you speaking in an accent if you're from Singapore? Oh, well, I studied in an international school, so maybe that's why. But yeah, tweening itself apologetically around my legs. Okay, so there's definitely that transition over here. Okay, so that's very, very important when it comes to composition, because you can't just jump from one section to another or just end very abruptly. Okay, so that's very important when it comes to engaging your audience and letting them feel like there's a certain order in your composition. Okay, that's very, very important. Hi, Irina. Hi, welcome to the live. How are you? All right. Okay. Throwing the door to brother's room open and flourish. I bounded inside and flung myself onto his bed. Just as I was starting to drift off to sleep, he came shrieking into the room like a comet. Okay, so we're starting the memory. Okay, we're starting the memory. I'm good. What about you? I'm great. I'm great. It's just very, very cold. All right. Okay. Jerking awake, I called out to it, but something caught its eye. Its favorite toy was sitting on top of brother's desk. Kiki gleefully clawed its way up to it without any hesitation before scampering away with it in its mouth. Suddenly, I saw a piece of calligraphy paper fluttering in the air as it drifted to the floor. Shock pierced my heart, a foreboding chill running down my spine. I turned my head towards brother's desk, dread slowing time down. My breath caught in my throat at the horrifying sight. Brother's Chinese calligraphy said that he had spent weeks preparing for his direction school admission portfolio had been ripped to shreds by Kiki's claws. My lips parted in a silent scream, panic coursing through my veins. I knew how close the deadline for the portfolio submission was. Before I could do anything to salvage the situation, brother appeared. He took one look at his destroyed masterpiece and my guilty expression before kicking me out of his room. Okay, now let's look at this paragraph. Okay, when it comes to this paragraph, you can see that there is definitely a lot of description, okay, but not that much description that it completely halts the progress of the story. Okay, and that's something that's very, very important and that is not highlighted enough. Okay, now when it comes to composition writing, too much detail stops your story. You won't be able to finish on time and you won't be able to move your story forward effectively. Okay, but too little descriptions, you will start getting comments from teachers like show, not tell. More descriptions, please. Describe your surroundings. Comments like this. Okay, so there it is very, very important to find that middle ground. Okay, so this is a very good example of middle ground because you can see that this paragraph is not excessively long, but it does have enough detail that makes it engaging, makes it very smooth to read, but at the same time, your story is being moved forward. Okay, there is one paragraph and the memory, then that is the start of the memory of what happened. Okay, give you guys some time to read while I drink some water. Okay. Okay, so there's that bit of transition. He took one look at his destroyed masterpiece and my guilty expression before kicking me out of his room. So it doesn't completely end off the story or the memory, but it's telling you that that's the end of that section. Okay, meow Kiko. Meow Kiki mewed as it fixed its round orbs on me. Okay, so there's a very, very nice way, a very, very special way of saying it fixed its eyes around me. You could definitely say that and it would still be effective. It would definitely deliver the message. But as a teacher, when you're reading it and you're saying, Kiki mute as it fixes eyes on me. Okay, effective. I'm moving on. But when you say Kiki mute as it fixes orbs on me, and then there's a pause, and it's like, wow, that's actually very, very effective use of writing. It's I've not seen any students write that way before, but you know exactly what the author means. So that's where you get that language marks and the teacher feels you're being very engaging. Okay. Snapping me out of the nightmare. I tried to apologize to brother once more. He slammed the door in my face. Tears rolled down my cheeks, my lips quivering as I stared at the closed door. Slumping against his door, I waited for him to come out. However, the door remained shut, even when our parents attempted to mediate. I knew I had to do something to show the sincerity in my apology. This time, mere words were not going to cut it, okay? So, use of idioms, use of different sentence structure, okay? And that's another very important point. When it comes to sentence structure, it is very important to use different sentence structure throughout your composition. You can't start with I in every sentence, okay? It becomes repetitive, it becomes boring. See, over here it starts meow, kiki, mute, okay? You're starting with a dialogue, okay? I tried, okay. Use of I, that's okay. Tears rolled down my cheeks, okay? So you're starting with tears with something's happening, comma, and what happened as a result of it. Stomping against his door, okay, we're doing that again. However, okay, use of transitional word. Okay, so we are definitely adding that variation to the structure, and that is something that makes each paragraph very fun to read because it's not repetitive, it is new in each sentence, okay? Okay, last paragraph. Determined to convince brother to accept my apology, I headed to my room, brother's old calligraphy tools in one hand. Shutting myself in my room, I got to work recreating my brother's Chinese calligraphy set. 1 hour passed. 2, 3. I was burning the midnight oil. Calligraphy ink smirched all over my face and hands, crumpled pieces of calligraphy paper strewn all over the floor and table. Every painstaking brushstroke was an apology given form. Every crumpled piece of paper an indication of my sincerity. Perhaps it was because I was a left-hander. Perhaps my skills was simply much more inferior compared to brother, regardless of reason. Okay. Try as I might, my Chinese calligraphy was simply incomparable to that of brother's. My left hand was trembling with exhaustion as it gripped the calligraphy brush tightly, the muscles in my fingers screaming out in pain. Still, I did not give up. How could I, when my mistake could affect my brother's DSA? Could I have another bottle of water? I forgot to bring a bottle of water in. Yeah, can you help me? Thank you. All right. So again, variation in structure. Okay, a little bit of our theme over here. You guys can see from my cursor pointing over here. Okay. So you see, you guys can see idioms, burning the midnight oil, very painstaking brushstroke. So very, very effective. Very sophisticated vocab. Painstaking brushstroke was an apology given form. So there's that explanation, that elaboration over there, but it's not too much and not too little. Okay. Rubbing my blurry eyes the next morning, I stared at my most decent replica of my brother's work thus far, praying that this would convince brother to accept my apology and help him with his DSA portfolio. I carefully picked up the Chinese calligraphy set after cleaning my hands and dashed to his room. Thank you. Slipping inside, I presented the Chinese calligraphy set to him as I swallowed nervously. Brother, I'm really sorry I did this for you to make up for what I had destroyed. Will you forgive me? I asked, trying to hide the quiver in my voice. I stared at the floor, pretendingly unable to look him in the eye. Would he accept my apology this time? After a few seconds, I heard him sign. Tensing up, I mentally hauled my shoulders up, preparing for yet another rejection. Suddenly, brother patted me on my head. Startled, I looked up at him to see a smile on his face. So just that heartwarming hint, okay? It's that heartwarming hint over there. Okay, so rubbing my beery eyes the next morning. Okay, you can see that that's a transition. You can see that that's a transition, that some time has passed. You do not have to keep writing the composition throughout the entire time. Okay, maybe the previous paragraph happened at night, and then you're gonna write all the way till morning. Okay, you write one for each hour. That's not how it works. Okay, you're not gonna be able to finish if you do that. And your teacher will probably not read that long. Okay, rubbing my blurry eyes the next morning. You're jumping the scene to the morning. I stared at my most distant replica. So you're adding that bit of connection to the previous paragraph. Very, very important. Okay. My silly younger sister, thank you for making this for me. You must have stayed up all night to write this, judging by the eye bags under your eyes and the smudges all over your clothes and face. Am I right? Thank you, and I forgive you. Brother murmured as he laid my Chinese calligraphy set on his table. I grinned at him, relief washing over me like a tidal wave. I hugged him tightly, making a mental note never to be so callous again. Okay, the thing, hi E. Now, when it comes to compositions, one of the things I would say is that you can take some of the good parts of a paragraph and reuse them in your own composition. Now, see this last part, making a mental note never to be so careless again. Now, you can definitely use that in your own composition. Let's say you were writing a story about you lost something. Could reuse that. I hugged my wallet tightly, making a mental note to never be so careless again. Or let's say You got into a fight with your mother because you were being rude. I hugged my mother tightly, making a mental note to never be so rude again. Hi E, how are you doing? Okay, so definitely you can reuse some good phrases. Doesn't always have to be vocab that you remember and reuse. It can be phrases or so much, so even sentences. Okay, so definitely you can pick. There are a lot of things you can pick up, including structure from a composition, how to properly and effectively start with a dialogue and then finish up a paragraph, how you can start with a however or transitional phrase. These are all things that you can pick up from composition. Nobody starts up and immediately knows how to write well. Okay, we always learn from the best writing out there. Okay, so this is definitely one way. Okay, for those who just came in, I'm currently going through some example pieces from the ebook that we're promoting. This ebook is made by Writers at Work ourselves, and we have specially created a whole selection of compositions as well as vocab lists for students to refer to. Okay, we have the PSLE version. We also have the O-level version. So depending on what you're studying this year or what you feel like you need brushing up on, you could purchase it. I'll show you guys the link again later, so you guys can take a look at it. Okay, so don't worry. Let me know if you have any questions, or you can WhatsApp the number above me. You guys can see above the screen. You have the WA, and you have the number right there. You can WhatsApp the number, and our team will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, we'll try our best to answer your questions. Okay, and over here we have the vocab list. This kind of vocab list is usually attached to the bottom, okay, of or the back of our each composition, and it is full of topic specific vocab. Okay, if you're looking for where to get topic specific vocab that you always hear people talking about, here it is. Okay, this is where you get it. See, like the word stalked, twinning, silent treatment, plaintively, bounded, shrieking. Not gonna cut it. Okay, idioms, metaphors, nice vocab. This is where you get it. Okay, and when you're working on your own, you can pick out a few nice ones. Like for me, I really like stalked. It's a very good alternative to walk. Okay, walk is very overused. I'm not saying you cannot use it, but do not use it more than 3 times, more than 2 times within your entire story. Okay, so see, I like the word stalk. I also like the word stride because I see it within the meaning. So I can always take this, put it in my notebook and write stalk, and I write the meaning, and I will write stride under it because I really like it. Okay, and then I will write the meaning for that as well. Okay, so it's definitely one way to do it. See, bounded. I see bounded. It's also similar to that. It's also not similarly, synonym. So I'll write it bounded, walk upright with running strides. Okay, so streaking. Okay, another similar one. I'm gonna write it down as well. So that's one very good way to build up that, or really buff up your vocab list. Okay. So I'm just gonna go through this so you guys can take a look. Okay, we are at the O-level English one. I did go through it just now, but you guys can take a picture right now or a screenshot if this is something that you feel like you want, and you can go look for it in our website. Or you could also just stay in this live, and I will show you guys the QR code later, so you guys can definitely scan it and then purchase it on the spot. Okay. Okay, so now what is included over here? I showed you guys a bit of this just now, but now it's a clearer view. It's a more zoomed in, so you guys can take a look. Okay. It's O-level paper 1, question 2. It's from year 2022. Okay, we have a narrative statement first. I've realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought for the time where you felt like this. Okay, now we're gonna analyze. Okay, the thing that is good about this composition book is that we are not only giving you model compositions for you to completely replicate. Okay, that's not the way learning works. Okay, learning is also about learning how to adapt. Learning is about understanding what went wrong, what went right, and then putting it in your next composition. So even without the book, because you're not going to be able to bring the book in this exam, you're going to know what's right. You're going to remember what went well and put it in the composition yourself. Now over here, we have the essay question analysis. So you can take a look at what went well. You don't have to spend time figuring it out yourself. Of course you can if it helps you to learn, but we are providing it for you so that we can make your learning more effective. Okay. essay question genre is narrative essay. So we're telling you what they're asking. We're literally giving it to you on a plate. We're telling you what they're asking. Key things to know are certain use of words. Number one being realize an event that caused you to revoke the presumption you had of yourself. Be stronger could be physically or mentally. Okay. So there are a lot of different options. You don't have to always take words at face level. Definitely when writing this kind of composition, you have to learn to adapt the question to something that you do know how to write, or adapt the composition you have in mind to something that fits the question. Okay, it's a lot of adaptation, and that's something that we really advocate for. Okay, previously spoke about that in my the other TikTok live about our crash courses. We spoke about story banking, which is one of our most prized techniques. And the thing about that technique that is so effective is that it helps students to fight against creative blocks. It helps students to fight with exam jitters, or even just problematic use of time when it comes to planning. Okay, so that fights all of that. That is a solution for all of that. That is that's why story banking is so important. Now, like I mentioned before, story banking isn't just about regurgitating content. It is simply not just regurgitating content. You are remembering certain content that's good and adapting it on the spot based on the question. Okay, so to use it hand in hand with the essay question analysis is a very strong combo, so definitely recommend. Okay, look at the third point. We can talk about why you had self-doubts about your capability and then explain it in detail one particular situation that aided in regaining your confidence in your strength. Since strength can either be physical or mental strength, it could also be good to cover both in your essay. Okay, so now this is very it's strong. It's strong in allowing you to see the options you have when it comes to writing. Okay, now usually assessment books don't offer that, and that's what makes it unique. Okay, because this is where you know what your options are and how to develop these options. Okay, I'll leave you guys to take a read of this before I explain. Okay, and then we have the exam study tips. Okay, I spoke about it just now. Space repetition. Okay, the thing about space repetition that is effective is that you are allowing yourself to psychologically, allowing your own brain psychology to support your studying. Okay, it's very important to make the best use of your study style, your learning style, and yeah, proven methods that do help. Good morning, all. Hi, good no, good evening. Oh my goodness, good evening. Was it Muhammad? Okay, good evening. Right. Yeah, so we also do provide exam study tips. Over here, it's spaced repetition. You can see it over here. So it's not always the same. So you have different ones per chapter. So that's also one good thing about it. So that about this product is that we also try to help you. We teach you how to make the most of your own learning. We're giving it to you on the plate, but we also want to support you in future growth. All right. We also teach you how to practice. Okay, you can see it over here at the bottom. Okay, and then for the example itself, I realized that I was much stronger than I previously thought, right? About the time you felt like this. One of the most important ways when it comes to studying is also it's also understanding what is required of you, okay? And this can be done through looking at model examples. But do know that this is not the only way, okay? This is not. Hi, Seema. Welcome. Yeah, this is definitely not the only way to go through to pick up such a thing. Okay, there are many other ways. Okay, self-doubt, fear of failure. These were like Bonnie and Clyde, partners in crime. working hand in hand when it came to demolishing my courage and taking part in competitions, my bad. The humiliating defeat of my very first ice skating competition haunted me. But one bad experience shall not cripple my fighting spirit to become a competitive figure skater, okay? It was a moment of epiphany that made me realize I was much stronger than I previously thought. The top screen is a little blurry. Yes, I understand that it is. But that's unfortunately a bit of the quality and tech issue that we're dealing with today. We're gonna look towards improving it for future sessions. You put up with it a bit today, but if there's anything that is a bit unclear, you can always tell me and I'll try to read it out to you. Okay? Thank you, Zima, for letting me know. Right, over here, we are also talking about a transition over here. It was a moment of epiphany that made me realize I was much stronger than I previously thought. It's a bit of not a conclusion, it's a bit of a summary of what's going to happen later on throughout the entire story that is very important. Okay, these are structural would I say formulas. These are parts of the structure that you can only learn through, maybe if you have a teacher who is going to give it to you directly, or if you can look at model compositions and learn it yourself. Okay, so this is definitely one way to pick it up. Okay, looking back, my first figure skating competition was the catalyst of my downfall, and I wallowed in self-pity for the longest time. It was a small zone competition, but there were live spectators seated all around me in the small skating rink in Jurong, and my friends were doing a live stream to share with my other classmates who could not be there with us. Okay, so over here we setting the situation so everyone knows exactly what is going on. Okay, I was brimming with confidence and I felt the strength in my legs when I put on the skating shoes to get ready for my turn to compete. This is gonna be a breeze, I muttered under my breath as I recalled the short months of training leading up to this moment. Little did I know this sense of complacency would soon send me down an abyss of humiliating defeat. Okay, again, a bit of foreshadowing what's exactly gonna happen. Okay, so foreshadowing is a very, very powerful tool when it comes to transition between paragraphs. You could always start the paragraph with however, suddenly. These are also transitional words. Okay, do note that transition is also very important because it helps your story do not sound clumpy. When your story has no structure and it jumps from paragraph to paragraph without any transition, it might seem rather abrupt for some people, and it just would not feel as engaging as it could be. Okay, for an effective composition, we really advocate for effective use of transition. Okay, when it comes, then some people might ask me, how do we learn effective transition? Effective transition can be learned through model compositions like this. You could break it down yourself, or you could sit through classes, regular classes that we have, or crash courses that we do offer. Okay, we offer crash courses for students who are, let's say, are having PSLE or mid-years in June, or maybe towards the middle of the year. Okay, but of course, if you do miss it out, don't worry about it. We always have ongoing classes, crash courses, and you can learn about that through our social media. You guys can just follow us online. We are online on Instagram, TikTok, Xiaohongshu, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So basically, all of them, you can just take a look at those platforms, give us a follow, subscribe, and yeah. And again, if you have any questions, you guys can give us a WhatsApp or just type in the comments over here. Yeah, so definitely a lot of different ways. We also have classes on TikTok. They are free. So I'm going to be doing a small class later on so you guys can understand as well. I also teach here, and there are also a lot of live stream teachers over here as well who do teach and break down such compositions. So you guys can definitely pick a teacher that is most suited to your needs, most suited to your learning style, and yeah, just learn that way. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'll let you guys read it for a bit. Okay. Stepping into the rink, I shot my classmates a smirk that was clouded in an air of confidence. My step sequence was choreographed by both me and my coach, and I knew it like the back of my hand. When I got to the surface into the ring, got onto the surface onto the rink, I let my muscle memory take the stage as I started to skate to the classical music. I heard this song time and time again, and familiar, I cannot pronounce today, emanated a sense of certainty and conviction. But before I could even complete my jump sequence, I lost balance and fell. My world went in slow motion as my limp body plummeted into the cold and hushed embrace of the ice. The spectators stopped cheering, and my world too had stopped in that moment. Okay, so there's that use of hyperbole. It's very, very exaggerated because it's not possible that that person's world stopped in the moment, but it shows that the impact of her falling actually hit her tremendously. What became of that day remained a blur to me. Okay, the mix and mash of red flashing ambulance lights as well as my coach and parents worry right before I blacked out. Okay, so there's that transition from the exact memory, the exact moment of what happened to a transition out of the paragraph. Okay, so that's exactly what is so valuable about this because there is such effective use of progress and detailing over here. Okay, see, I mentioned it before just now when I'm going through the PSLE book. The thing about composition that students often find hard to get a balance in, I personally did too, is the balance between detail and progress. The thing about progress is what moves your story forward. But the thing is that too little detail, you start seeing comments like show not tell please, more detail, or describe a bit more. Okay, teachers do ask for that sometimes, but the thing about that is it's very important to not get too carried away, because once you get carried away you stop helping your story to progress. And the thing about story progress is that it's also very important when it comes to your marks. Okay, both of them are very, very important, and they have to be done simultaneously. They have to be done with a certain balance. Okay, and that's one of the best things you can do with a composition model composition is that you can annotate. Okay, you can annotate and see where that balance is. And later I will annotate with another composition that we're going to do together, and I will teach you guys exactly what it is that I call balance. Okay, of course you might have your own understanding of it, and that's completely fine, but it's always good to make sure that your story is moving forward. Okay, if your story is not moving forward for within one entire paragraph, you are describing way too much in the paragraph. Okay, that is going to eat up your time while not maybe not giving you any marks. Okay, so please be careful. Okay, the fail jump sequence did not leave any permanent physical damage. I hit the sides of my face and the wound healed beautifully. However, I was mentally and emotionally scarred by my very public failure, and all I could see in the mental image of myself was tinged with disappointment and embarrassment. I concurred that everyone was mocking me and I was simply an embodiment of defeat. Okay, so there's a lot of takeaways from it. All these fears materialized on my physique, and I was certain that there was simply no strength in my legs. This very same pair of legs that stood strong in skating shoes. The very same pair of legs that I believe could execute the jump sequence. Perhaps I was not strong as I imagined myself to be. I developed an intense fear and dread towards competitive skating scene and all forms of competition. Okay, so it's very the description is there. There is a very cause and effect situation over here. Okay, and that's what's important in this, because there is no sudden jump between situations that leave the readers asking why. Like, I don't have to ask why she developed an intense fear and dread towards competitive skating because it's written right there. Okay, I had given up, but my coach had not. After my recovery, I repudiated my coach's relentless pleas for me to try skating again because my big fall that abolished any form of dignity and self-respect I had formerly possessed. Then one day I received a text message from my coach, and it was accompanied by a short video. I absentmindedly clicked on the video, and it was a clip of my very first competition, scenes of me skating in the pristine white ice rink. My coach's voice echoed in the background of the video as he analyzed my every move. You were great at the start, but take a close look at your stance before you did the jump. There's a misalignment in your. My heart thumped against my ribcage as I watched the video with bated breath. I listened to my coach's words as he broke down what we could do to improve all the moves. When the video ended, I broke down and cried because I realized I really missed skating. I missed being on the ice and gliding across the expanse of the ice rink. I dried my tears resolutely and put my fists together. I decided it was time. Time for me to try again. This time I devoted my heart and soul into the training, pouring in blood and sweat at every training session. I fell countless times during the training. There was pain and tears, but no strength lost. In fact, every rigorous training, I felt myself growing stronger and stronger, and I realized I was much stronger than I previously thought. Okay, I'll give you guys time to settle this and we'll go on a short 2-minute break. And when I come back, we'll talk about this one paragraph because there's quite a lot to talk about here. It's suddenly so cold again. It's suddenly so cold again. Okay, hi everyone. All right. Okay, so we're back from the break. Okay, so let's talk about the last paragraph. Okay, the thing about this paragraph that I felt was really, really good is that is again the balance of detail and progress. Now I want to highlight a few instances here where that is highlighted, and maybe you guys can see what I mean. Okay. See, over here he says, I listened to my coach's words as he broke down where we could improve all those moves. So these is bringing the story forward, okay? I watched a video with bated breath. Now the words bated breath, it's that single use of sophisticated vocab or topic-specific vocab that actually brings this whole thing forward. Because the moment he said, the moment the author says bated breath, the moment the author says bated breath is the moment the author is actually I dried my tears resolutely and put my fist together. Okay, a bit of detail over there, but this detail also brings the story forward because this detail is showing her now changed attitude towards skating. Okay, it's very, very important over here. Okay, now we have the last paragraph, and then before we move on to our second composition. Okay. The day of the competition had finally arrived, and the tidal waves of anxiety and stress started as I waited for my turn on the rink. Okay, now this is a jump all the way to when she is doing her first competition in a very long time. The lacing of my skates felt stifling tight, just like how my chest was tight with anxiety. Okay, like a snap to intention, I heard my name blaring from the speakers, echoing across the arena. This was it. This was my time to shine, okay? So we have a bit of variation in structure here. The structure here shows a bit of, okay, this is definite. This is it, okay? There's nothing else to say. This is it. I got into the ring and vowed to give it my all. The soreness in my core, anxiety in my chest, and my self-doubt melted away as I devoted my entirety to the jump sequences. My momentum accumulated, culminated at the peak of the music that accompanied my routine, and I executed every jump and spin to loud applause. Okay, so that's that description. We know exactly what's going on. My choreographed routine ended as quickly as it began. I glided across the ring as gracefully as a swan. Okay, similarly, with an aura of confidence and pride. I did it. It was surreal, but I did it. I am thankful that I realized I was much stronger than I had previously thought. Okay, so it ends on a very positive note, and it ends with a very subtle conclusion. I didn't, but I'm thankful that I realized I was much stronger than I previously thought. Okay, now do know, I don't know if anyone realized, she is linking back directly to the she's linking back directly to the question. Stronger than I previously thought. Okay, now read the question again. Okay, that's very, very important when it comes to questions like this. You're linking back. When it comes to questions like this, actually in any composition, it is very important for your story to be linkable to the main question, picture, or topic related phrases throughout your story. Okay, that's how you know you're staying relevant. Okay, that's one tip that I have for you guys. Okay, now we have the vocab, so you guys can take a look. Okay, we're at the end. All right, so I'm now gonna switch back to the QR code, so you guys should be able to make that purchase if you guys feel that, you know, it is something that you like. Okay, here we are. Hi Ozil, welcome back. I have not seen you in so long. How are you doing? All right, I'm going to move this along so everyone. Hi Ozil, welcome. I haven't seen you in so long. All right, the PSLE model composition here is the QR code. So in case anyone is interested in making that purchase after you guys have seen everything on that I've just gone through, you guys can always always scan the QR code over here and make that purchase. Okay. Also, thank you so much for the likes. I haven't seen you, Mariah. That's so many people. Charlene, Clarissa, and so long actually. Yeah. Okay, and okay, for the price, it's currently $29.90. Okay, so you guys can scan the code and take a look. Of course, there are some bundles that are online, so you guys can check that out as well. So if you're looking for some somewhere value, also we have the O-level model essay that I just went through. Yeah, it's also available. We have that right here, so you guys can take a look and scan the QR code. For those that just came in, I will show you guys really quickly. I'm currently going through the PSLE model composition e-booklet. Okay, so I've just gone through the examples that we have over there. What we have inside is, you guys can see from our contents page that it's actually very in-depth. So there's not much filler pages, there's just a lot of content. These are all the PSLE model compositions that we have added inside, and all of them are attached to a vocab list. So if you're looking to build your vocab bank, or if you're looking for some model compositions with that structure, you can definitely take a look. Okay, you can definitely take a look or consider it. Okay, I'll show you guys one composition. You guys can see a bit. This is not the full composition, but you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about. I'm not sure how well you guys can see. I'll show you guys. I'll zoom into this part so you guys should be able to read like a little bit. Okay, you can see it teaches you how to paragraph, it teaches you structure, it teaches you how to balance detail and progress. These are all things that we really emphasize and we really want to add into our compositions. Okay, we also attach it to a vocab list. So these are all things that you will be getting when you purchase the book. As for the O-level book, it's an O-level model essay. I understand a lot of students are very stressed now because they are either preparing for their O-levels exams or their PSLE exams. Perfectly valid, and we're trying to do our best to help you guys as well. Of course, if you guys have any questions or anything that you want to learn about when it comes to the services we offer, the products we offer, you guys can WhatsApp us on the number above, or you guys can drop me a comment over here, and yeah, let me know. Oh my god, we are at 7.4K. Thank you so much, everyone. And Ozil, I saw Ozil spamming the likes just now. Thank you so much, Ozil. All right. For the O level, here I'm gonna show you guys the contents page so you guys can get a bit of a feel of what it is. Over here, you guys can see some people enjoy being in a crowded area while others prefer somewhere quieter with fewer people. So there are different model compositions. We're not talking about just one type of model compositions. We're showing you a whole bunch, okay? So you can get a rough idea of what it is. And you're not just learning one type, you're learning variation. Okay, we're trying to make our students well all rounders when it comes to compositions and English in general. When it comes to the content inside itself, we have the classic narrative statement, and also as an addition, we have the essay question analysis. Now, this is extremely important because over here, this is where students learn how to break down questions, not only with this kind of model compositions, but when they're actually in the exam themselves. Okay, they're not going to be able to bring their teacher into the exam, definitely not. They're not going to be able to bring their book into the exam. So this is something that they have to learn, and what we can do over here with this book is teach them how. Okay, essay exam study tips. Okay, these are some things that are super important because sometimes personally, when I was a student, I feel like my exposure to this kind of study tips was actually a lot lower than it should have been. Okay, now this kind of study tips is extremely important because it helps students to actually cultivate a study method, study schedule that's actually beneficial to them, and these are all things that could make your study life a lot easier. Okay, so all these components are what joins together to make to help you get good grades. So we're compiling that into this book. Definitely a lot of quality, I would say. Okay, and over here we have the QR code. So if you're feeling like this is the moment, I just want to get it, feel free. Okay, so for the ebooks, that's it for today. But if you have any questions, feel free to let me know at any moment of time or WhatsApp the number above. Okay. We'll also be going through another composition. This is not part of the book, but I do want to go through a composition so you guys can also understand what our TikTok classes are like. I'm also doing TikTok classes. If any of you Rhino 0 remembers, I do TikTok classes. So this is another one of that. Okay, but we only have around 1 hour 10 minutes left. So yeah. Okay, before going through this, I want to go through the questions first so that you guys can do the questions without knowing the answers. And also so I can go through, make sure I get everyone's focus for words other than those in the vocab list. Okay, so we have all these options. You guys can take a look at these 3 questions first while I drink some water. Okay, Tim's stomach was blank again. Okay, my throat is dying slightly, so bear with me. Okay, let's go for the first question. Okay. Now, wrenching. Okay, I'm gonna write down the answer. Causing physical or emotional pain, or let's say you're twisting or pulling violently. Okay, I'm just gonna write causing. Okay, and then we have churning. Does anyone know what churning means? Okay. So now when you say someone's churning, you often mean their stomach, they're not feeling well. So you're saying that it's a feeling of discomfort or agitation, especially in the stomach. Okay, and we also have the word torching. Okay, now torching, you can see that it's a breakdown from the word torch. So when you see torch, you're thinking about like a little flame. And draw a little flame here to help that understanding. Okay, torching, okay, which means something on fire or burning. Okay, so you can imagine, you guys can think of the example. The wildfire was torching everything in its path. Okay, so let's say example, spinning. Spinning, we all know what that means. Spinning, it's turning. Or revolving. Rapidly. Okay. Now, what do you guys think the answer is? Okay. What do you guys think the answer? I'll give you guys 3 seconds. Okay. It's more than 3 seconds. All right. Now let's break it down. Now with wrenching, the thing about it is that when you're saying that someone's stomach wrenching, is not a very typical idiom. You don't say stomach wrenching, okay? You have to note that it's a stomach over here. You would often say gut wrenching, so it's more common and it denotes distress and that it's more emotional rather than physical stomach discomfort, okay? So over here, I'm gonna cross out one because it's not the answer. Churning, okay, churning. So it can be the answer. It describes the sensation of discomfort and ease in the stomach, okay? So it matches the context that something is happening in his stomach, so it does make sense. We're gonna leave it first just in case there's a better answer, okay? Torching, setting something on fire, okay? So it has nothing to do with his stomach, okay? So you don't see someone's stomach is torching, okay? It doesn't really make a lot of sense. So it's definitely not the answer, even though it has a little flame over there. Spinning, turning or revolving rapidly, okay? It's not a very, it has nothing to do with its stomach. Stomach spinning is not idiomatic. Head spinning is more commonly used, okay? You say someone's head is spinning. You don't say someone's stomach is spinning, okay? Doesn't really make sense. So let me cross that out. So we're left with number 2. Good job to those who guessed it. I feel like everyone's kind of tired today. What day of the week is it? Let's see. Today is a Wednesday. Hi, I'm Aiden. Hi. Welcome to the live. Okay. Then for the next one, you guys can look at the next one. Okay. The shopping mall was like blank, milling around. 1, locked in with shoppers. 2, packed snow with shoppers. 3, shoot in with commuters. 4, packed out with tenants. Okay, let's go through it one by one. With locked in with shoppers, the thing about that is that it means to be surrounded or trapped in a confined space with many shoppers. Okay. Okay, so that's what it means. Okay, and you have packed snow with shoppers. Okay, packed snow, so you can imagine that something is very compressed and hardened. Okay, so you can do note that the word like this here, so it is more likely it's simile. Okay, shoot in with commuters. Okay, when you say something is shooting, something is chased in. Okay, something is ushered or moved along. Okay, packed out with tents. That means packed out means fully occupied. Now, off the bat, we know that this is not correct because when you say tenants, you're usually talking about a building or office space, whereas we're talking about a shopping mall over here. So that's not the answer. We're just gonna cross 4 out off the bat. Okay, shoot with commuters. Let's go from the back this time. Shoot for commuters. When you're saying commuters, you're more talking about transportation hubs. Let's say you're talking about buses, you're talking about trains, you're not gonna be talking about a shopping mall. Okay, so okay, can you imagine the shopping mall was like packed snows with shoppers milling around? Okay, so it doesn't make sense, but let's see number one, it's a better option. The shopping mall was like locked in with shoppers. Okay, now it's grammatically awkward. Okay, it's very grammatically awkward, but it doesn't, and it also doesn't really match the idea of milling around. Okay, so we're gonna cancel out number one because it's not the answer. We're gonna choose number two. Three, the blank of the boisterous clouds and the merriment all around was making team feel horrible. Okay, one is cajoling, two is synergy, three is carnival, four is symphony. Okay, we have all these options. Hi, Bits Sweet Sim. Hi, Handsome Garbage. They're very interesting names. All right. Sorry, my throat is dead. Okay, cajoling. Cajoling, which means persuading someone to do something by gentle urging or flattery. Okay, when you say flattery, you're talking about like praise that is, I wouldn't say unnecessary, but praise that might be a bit over the top. Okay, or just praise in general. Praise with a motive, I would say. Okay, she was cajoling him to join a party despite his reluctance. That kind. Okay, synergy. When you're saying synergy, what does synergy mean? Does anyone know what synergy means? feel like everyone's a bit tired today. It's okay. Synergy, which means the interaction or cooperation of two elements to produce a combined effect. So you can say they have amazing chemistry, they have amazing synergy. Okay. The synergy between the two departments led to a more efficient workflow. That kind of sentence. Okay, this sentence is a bit long. Okay, there we are. Carnival. Okay, you're saying carnival, a period of public celebration, typically with parades, music, and dancing. Okay. Marked by a festive atmosphere. Okay, Ozil says two. Thank you, Ozil. Ozil says two. Okay, let's circle two. Okay, then finally we have symphony. Okay, symphony. Sorry guys, if I'm speaking without energy, my throat is completely gone. Feels completely gone. Symphony means a harmonious arrangement of sounds or musical composition. Okay. Symphony is music. Yes, that is true. Oh, okay. That is true. Okay, now let's break it down. Symphony implies harmony and elegance. Okay, so we're over here. We have to look at the keywords. It means boisterous crowd, and merriment. Okay, so it doesn't really match with the ideas of some crowd being boisterous, so we're gonna cancel out 4. Okay, and then we have carnival. Okay, now carnival emphasizes festivity, which does not really capture the idea that it's overwhelming. Okay, because we have to note that team felt horrible, so the carnival does not encapsulate that idea, so we're gonna cancel out 3. 2, synergy. Okay, it illustrates how the crowd and merriment amplify each other's impact. Okay, so it's more of a neutral word, and it could lead to team feeling horrible. So 2 seems like a very good answer, or 0, that's really good. But let's see if number 1 is a better answer. Cajoling, persuading someone to do something by flattery. Okay, cajoling is about persuasion. Okay, and off the bat, we definitely know it has nothing to do with it. So I'm gonna cancel number 1. Ozil, you're correct. Good job. Carnival. Option 2 is correct. Good job, Ozil. Okay, then we have number 4. Replace the underlined phrase, running very fast. Team dashed into the first vacant cubicle. Okay, racing as fast as flying to charging like a mad cow, 3 in hot pursuit, 4 running at turbo speed. What is the answer? Hi, Biggie Bigs. Thank you for liking the live. Thank you for liking the live also. Also says 4. Okay, let's circle in. I think it's 4 too. All right. Okay, let's note some key things. That he's running and it is very fast. Okay, so these things, it all suggests being fast. Okay, the key thing is being fast. Okay, running as fast as flying, racing as fast as flying. So racing also suggests that it's fast. Okay, so it suggests that he's zooming. So it's extreme speed. So it's as if he were flying. Okay. So it's kind of saying that. Comparing running to flying, okay, because of its speed, okay. Charging like a mad cow, okay. So it means something is more aggressive and more reckless, okay. So it's more, because when you're talking about an animal, you're using an animal, you're suggesting that something is more reckless, okay. You're not really very careful. So off the bat, we know it has nothing to do with that because he's running very fast. There's no element of him being reckless. So we're going to cancel number 2. And hot pursuit. Oh, we have seen that before in a composition. Okay, like the police were in hot pursuit of the fleeing subject. Okay, now this implies chasing or pursuing someone, but it does not mean that you're, does not have to mean it means that you're chasing after someone, and he is not chasing after anyone. Team dash into the first vacant cubicle. He's not running after anyone, so off the bat we know it cannot be the answer. I'm gonna come to Ozo's 4. Will it be 1 or will it be 4? Running at turbo speed. So when you're saying turbo speed, you're talking about something that is moving extremely fast. Okay, you're talking about something that's extremely fast. Okay, it conveys the idea of exceptional speed. Okay, and you have the word running and fast, so this means fast. So from this angle, 4 does seem the most similar to the question. Okay, so it doesn't use a comparison directly, it says turbo speed. So I'm gonna take 4. Also, you're correct. Good job. Okay, last question for the page. We have another page. My throat is so tired. I need, you know, like those strapsels. You know, like the... It's okay, it's okay. No, it's okay, I can't eat sweets while doing live. I cannot talk properly. Alright. When he got his act together, he rushed out of the blank, all ready to hit the arcade. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at this one. Minuscule space to miniature pace. Minimum trace, minor maze. Okay, it's a rhyme. It's a rhyme over here. Okay, so we have to note that sometimes questions do like to make it like a rhyme, or make the word spelled really similarly, because it confuses the students. So it's very important that students know how to differentiate this kind of questions and this kind of options that they're giving you. Okay, there is lifesaver. Thank you. Moderator just gave me some sweets for my throat. It's not funny anymore. That's okay. If I stop crying, everyone will see me on live. It smells spicy as well. Okay. Okay, when it says minuscule space, you're talking about a very small area, a tiny area. That is spicy. That is spicy. My nose is clear as well. Okay. Minuscule space. A small, a tiny area. That is really spicy. Miniature pace, okay? Okay, note that this is not a standard idiomatic expression because miniature means small, okay? Pace refers to speed or rhythm. I'm gonna write that down. Speed or rhythm. Okay, so it's not a very standard idiomatic expression, so it's very or evidence behind. That's so clear. I can breathe colors. Alright. And minor maze. Okay, this one, you're talking, when you say minor, you're talking about something that is very small and with networks of paths, okay? We're talking about complex layout. He rushed out of the minor maze all ready to hit the arcade, okay? It's not really suitable because it's such a complex layout, okay? It's very unrelated to the context of running out the arcade, okay? So we have to note that down and cancel it. Minimum trace, it's talking about disappearance or leaving no evidence. It is not a physical place to rush out from. Minuscule space, you're talking about rushing out from a confined spot, okay? It's really enhancing that sense of movement and relief, okay? So 1 is most likely the answer, so I'm going to circle 1 and put it as the answer. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a screenshot time. Oh, my nose is actually clear. It's crazy. Okay, so you guys can take a screenshot. 1, 2, 3. And then it's a bit messy. 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3. And 5. 1, 2, 3. One time for screenshot. Hi, Songbird. Hi, Mariah. My bad. Okay. Okay, next page. Staring at his unfortunate find. Tim blank seriously. Okay. Option 1, tempted. Option 2, contorted. Option 3, contemplated. And option 4, cemented. Okay. Tempted. Which means to feel a desire to do something that is unwise. Okay. Contorted, which means to twist or bend out of normal shape. So it has really nothing to do with this. We know off the bat. Staring at his watch, I'm gonna find Tim twisted or bent out of shape. It has nothing to do with that. Doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna cancel out 2. Contemplative. Think about something deeply and at length. She thought about her decision for hours before finally signing the contract. She contemplated her decision. Okay, cemented. Okay, when you're talking about cemented, you're thinking about cement. So something that solidifies. Okay. That he's thinking about something. Okay, okay. Attempted seriously. So we're left with those 2. It does not capture the idea of serious reflection or anything serious. So it's not going to be the answer, leaving the answer to be number 3. Oh, goodness. We have number 7. Okay. No. Oh, I think. Did I? I think I. Okay. After some time. Alright, let's just skip it. Alright. After some blank, Tim decided to do the right thing. Major tethering. Okay. Major dithering. Minor tittering. Minor reckoning. Okay. Now, what does it mean? This means tying or binding something in place. You're doing something majorly, something that is greatly. So it's more of indecisive behavior. Minor tittering. Minor means not a lot. Okay. Tittering means soft, suppressed laughter. Soft, suppressed laughter. Giggling. My voice is back. Still very tired though. All right. Minor reckoning. Okay, reckoning refers to small scale moment of judgment or realization. Okay. I'm gonna give you guys a minute with this. Okay, right back. Okay, guys, let's finish up this last bit. All right. All right. The thing about minor reckoning is it implies evaluation. Okay. Now the minor downplays its significance. Okay. So which takes away from this. Okay. And it contrasts from like the serious decision that seems to be coming from this. Okay. Team decided to do the right thing. So it's a very, very big deal. Okay. It's a very serious decision. How is the idea that it's a serious decision? So it takes away from that. So it might not be the answer. Okay, minor tittering, soft suppressed laughter. Okay, so it's about laughter. There's no connection to weighing out a serious decision. So it's definitely not the answer. Major dithering. Okay, indecisive behavior, wavering between options or actions. Okay, so you can say it describes the act of hesitating to be unsure. So it fits the context that Tim is weighing out whether or not to take the phone or whatever he's trying to take or whatever he's trying to do. Okay. So it could be the answer, but let's look at number one just in case. Because we always want to weigh out all our options first, just so we 200% make the right decision in these exam questions. Okay. Tethering means tying or binding something in place. Okay. Now, tethering, sorry. Okay. So it implies physical or digital connection. Is not that much about hesitation or decision making. So we're canceling out one, making sure that number two is the answer. For those who guessed number two, good job. Okay, and we're at last two questions. Good job, everyone. Replace the sentence. A handsome man came for his phone. Option one. A dashing gentleman appeared to claim his phone. 2. An attractive man manifested to stake on his phone. A stylish gentleman appraised his phone. 4. A gorgeous man walked up to his phone. Means attractive. In a bold way. Okay? And a gentleman refers to a very well-mannered, appeared to claim his phone. Okay? Claim, you're talking about asserting ownership. An attractive man manifested. Okay? Now, manifested makes this awkward because manifested means to appear or become evident very, very suddenly. They're saying his opinion manifested on the project. Okay, it appeared on the project. Okay, it doesn't. A handsome man came for, he didn't appear. So you know, off the bat, that's not the answer. A stylish gentleman appraised his phone. Appraise means to assess the value. So off the bat, we know that it's not the answer because it means more about evaluation. So it's not that he's coming for the phone. He's evaluating the phone, which doesn't really make sense. So we're canceling out 3 as well. Okay. A gorgeous guy walked up to his phone. Okay. Could be. But we also have to know that came is also slightly more aggressive. Okay. Okay. When you're saying claim, you're talking about something that is more. He came for it. He came for his phone. He came for a reason. he came with what's the word? It's intentional. Okay, let's write that down. Okay, so number 4 is not the answer because walked up is way too casual. Okay, meaning that number 1 is the answer. Okay, we're at question 10. Final options. Final question. Good job, everyone. Good job to everyone who stayed. Thanking Tim for being a boy of blank. Insight. Insight. I think insight meaning okay. Insightful is a word. Okay, then we have this ingenuity, which means so you're talking about some quality of a person, a quality of being clever, original, and inventive. Okay, so you're saying that someone's very creative, someone is smart. Integrity. Integrity refers to integrity means to be honest and have strong moral principles. Okay, and finally, initiative means the ability to access and take action independently. Someone is independent. Okay, so it's someone who does not need that sense of direction. Okay, now let's look at that. Okay, let's start from the top. When you're saying insight, thanking him for being a boy of insight. Okay, insight is valuable, but it also refers to more of understanding or perception. So you can often use it more as a sign of understanding. Okay, so it's not a moral quality that someone would usually thank someone for. Okay, you can say thank him for being insightful, but you wouldn't thank them for being a boy of insight. Okay, when you're thanking someone for being insightful, you're thanking them for bringing you an important understanding that brought you some benefits. But you don't thank someone for having that ability. Okay, it's not very common. Ingenuity, which means thank someone for being original and attentive. Okay, it usually refers to cleverness and creativity. It doesn't really fit something of a moral character that you would thank someone for. Okay, now integrity, it does suit the context because you would thank someone for being morally upright. You thank someone for making the right decision, so it could be the option. Well, we're gonna leave it first. You thank someone. What about initiative? Initiative is a positive quality. Thank you for being a boy of initiative. Thanking him for being a boy of initiative. Okay, focuses on taking action, so it's not really not a moral character, which means integrity, a more fitting option. So we're gonna circle and put number 3. Okay, we have finished our vocab section. I'm gonna let you guys take a quick screenshot. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now finally I can show you guys the passage. Okay, so we can read through the passage very slowly together, and as we read, I'm gonna annotate the parts that I think are good. Instead of doing vocab today, what I want to focus on is, I'm gonna draw the balance between detail and progress. Okay, I've spoken to you guys about this before, but there is having that balance between these two is extremely important, because without progress, because these two all add up to your total grade. Okay, adds up to your total grade. However, if you do too much of one, you will lack in the other. So it's very important to have that balance over there in order to achieve the grades that you do want. Okay, for detail, I'm going to, let's do it in highlights. I'm going to highlight in yellow. And for progress, I'm going to highlight in blue. Okay, and then let's go through it bit by bit to see the balance that there is in this passage. Okay, Tim's stomach was churning again. Okay, so it does add that value. It does add value. This add that value even more. So I want to highlight this in progress. I'm going to highlight this in detail. Okay, weave this way through the crowds. This is a bit of detail. Crowded shopping mall. It paints a picture, but it's also progress. Frantically trying. So there is the best sentences are a mix of, I'm gonna write that down as well for you guys to see. Okay, so it's a mix of that. The shopping mall was like packed snow. Okay, so it's more towards you're painting a pretty picture. You're setting the scenes, description. Okay, description. Okay, so that's all very important. Okay, so the thing about description is that people commonly put more description at the top of their in the first paragraph, and that's completely fine. Okay, just make sure not to get too carried away, because in the first paragraph you're setting the scene, so it's also very important to paint a nice picture. Okay, so this is both a description and it moves the story along, because it is this one emotion that is the tip of the ice that tips the iceberg. Okay, so it's, he felt like he was stuck in a maze. Okay. With each passing second, his stomach churned. Okay, so he's moving the story along. Okay, you end the story with progress. Okay, great. Teen broke into a run the minute he saw the toilet sign. Okay, progress. Running as fast as his legs could carry him. Okay, so this is detail. Okay. Okay, description. Progress, almost ripping his pants on. Okay, so detail, almost ripping his pants off him. Team finally found relief. Okay, so he went to the bathroom. That's progress. When he got his act together, he rushed out of the. So we have transition to hit the arcade. Okay. 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 As he was washing his hands, Suddenly, ring, ring, ring. A familiar sound reverberated through the empty toilet. Okay, so you're adding a bit of important detail. So in this paragraph, you can see they're clearly focusing a lot more on detail, and that's okay if you want to alternate between the two. Team craned his neck high and low. Okay, very good. Okay, and he found it. Okay, a brand new mobile phone. Okay, a bit of description. It was the latest model. Okay, it was okay. Now we're given information that moves the story along. Okay, staring at his fortunate find, Tim contemplated seriously. Very important. Okay, very, very important. Knitting his brows together earnestly, description. Tim weighed out his conscience and his desire to make the phone for himself. So it's very emotive language here. So I would say it's description, but it's also moving the story forward, so it's progress. Just then, the little gadget came alive. Okay, definitely description. Likely ringtones again, but it moves the story along. Because of that, something then happens. Okay, so you guys can see the clear balance over here. It's very, very balanced. You guys can see that one does not outweigh the other. Okay. After some major deterring, Tim decided to do the right thing. Hello, hello, may I know who was on the line? Okay, this is a bit off. And then Tim decided to do the right thing. Okay. And you're saying that someone called him, so you're moving the story along by adding another character. Okay, one important thing is that in this case, they are adding a character that contributes to the ending of a story, and it also contributes to how the story moves on. However, please do not add a new idea that you have not mentioned in your story in the conclusion, okay? That goes for essays, that goes for compositions. It is not wise to add a new idea in your conclusion or summary, like the one at the end. Okay, so you're fretful. Okay, Tim explained politely. Okay, he's explaining. I was now in the toilet. Heaved a sigh of relief. Okay, but we also see this is a description. Thanked, but it is also okay. Tim offered to meet the mobile phone's owner at the information counter at the shopping mall. So it's a very, so you guys can see that there towards the middle, there is a lot of progress there, but they're not leaving out the detail. A dashing gentleman. Okay, so this detail, they would be fine without this detail, but it adds to the painted picture. And walk towards him in steady strides to claim his phone. Okay, so it's very, paints a very nice picture. Appeared and walked towards Tim in steady strides to claim his phone. Handed his phone with only a slight hint of inclination in him. The gentleman was so relieved that he gave Tim $100. Okay, it's a lot of money. Thanking Tim for being a boy of integrity. Okay, in a bright green, and his stomach seemed to have miraculously recovered too. Okay, now, oh goodness me. Okay. And these are the yellow bits. Now he was really already. Okay. Broad grin, boy of integrity. Okay. Now, if we were to look, There is balance, but there's a lot more progress at the end, but that's okay because it's not very awkward sounding. Okay, I'm going to read it again. After some major deterring, Tim decided to do the right thing. Hello, hello. May I know who is on the line? A fretful voice spoke. Tim explained politely that he had found the phone and was now in the toilet. The other party heaved a sigh of relief and thanked him copiously for responding. Copiously. He offered to meet the mobile phone's owner at the information counter of the shopping mall. A dashing gentleman appeared and walked towards him in steady strides to claim his phone. Tim handed the phone with only a slight tinge of disinclination in him. The gentleman was so relieved to have his mobile phone back that he gave Tim a reward of $100, thanking Tim for being a boy of integrity. Tim beamed a bright grin, and his stomach seemed to have miraculously recovered too. Now he was really all ready to hit the arcade for his favorite games. Okay, so you can see that it does not sound awkward. There is progress and there is detail too. And that's what makes a good composition, okay? Because you are balancing how much you're engaging the reader as well as how much you're moving the story forward. Those two things come hand in hand and they can both work towards to engaging the reader, okay? So very, very important to be able to learn that balance. All right. Now let's look at the vocab. Okay, this is super important. We didn't highlight that much today as we usually do. So I'm going to, okay, screen. Okay, stomach was churning, which means to feel queasy. We learned what churning means. Abdomen tightly. Weaved his way through the crowded shopping mall. Talked in a treading manner in and out the crowd. Okay, so he's weaving. When you're saying that someone weaves their way, I'm talking that they're moving in like a very snake-like way. So it's very, very crowded. So it's painting a very, very vivid picture. Like packed snow with shoppers milling around. Okay, crowded people shopping around. Jamboree, which means event filled with activities and entertainment. Jovial chatters. Okay, synonym. Sounds of people talking. Bawling. Okay, we got that. Synergy of the boisterous crowd. A merriment all around, okay? A mixture of lively crowd, people having fun. Okay, but do note that boisterous, you're talking about something that's more chaotic rather than something that's purely just lively, okay? Please do note that there's a small difference. Okay, stomach churned violently. You're talking that someone has a very bad stomach ache. Violently. Okay. Urgency for the loo. When you say loo, when people say loo, they mean the toilet. Running as fast as his legs could carry him means that you're running very fast. Okay. Idiom. Got his act together. Minuscule space, tiny area. Hit the arcade. I think everyone knows what an arcade is. All right. Okay. After finishing this page, we will end the live. because we'll be done with this chapter. Reverberated, echoed. So you're thinking about something that's bouncing off the walls, sounds bouncing off the walls. Craned his neck. And say strained as well. Okay. Contemplated. Knitting his brows together. Okay. Weighed out his conscience, measured his sense of right and wrong. Okay. Little gadget came alive. So it's a nice way to say show not tell. So you're describing his phone instead of saying that his phone came alive. Maturing, hesitation, fretful, anxious, great, great. Copiously, dashing, very handsome. Walk towards Tim in steady strides. Okay, very confident, shall not tell. If he's confident, he'll walk in steady strides. Okay.
It looks so cold. The Christmas thing.
I feel so cold in this AC room. Slight tinge of disinclination. Okay, reluctance. Boy of integrity. Okay. So that is about it. But do let me know if you have any questions. Hi, Pear. Okay, we've gone through quite a lot today, so it might be a lot to digest. Okay, well, do let me know if you have any questions, but always remember that it's very, very important for you to have a certain balance between your details and your progress. Okay, very, very important. And when it comes to planning, when it comes to everything, it is also very important that one very good way to mediate how much description you're putting in is that you can put in a few nice phrases like this. You can write a few of them while you're doing your planning. Make sure you use them and surround your descriptions around them. That way you won't exceed and write too much. All right. Does anyone have any questions? All right, let's see if there's anything. Okay, I will show you guys the ebook thing one last time, just in case anyone here wants to make a purchase. Okay, so over here, mentioned it before, I would like to end off with that. We have our PSLE ebook and we also have our O-level ebooks. Of course, we do have a lot of new other ebooks. We have oral, we have like this composition. We have a lot of different ebooks, and you can view them all on our website, Podia. You guys can take a look, and of course, do let us know if you guys have any questions. You guys can drop us a WhatsApp or just type in the comments where we're on live. Yeah, but right now, if you guys feel like you want to buy that English composition product, you guys can scan the QR code. All right, so if you guys are scanning it now, do let me know if you guys have any questions. All right, it's one of the great things to make a purchase on live is that you can ask if there's any questions that you have. Also, yeah, we also have bundle sales. You guys can look us up on Podia. Do take a look. I'm sure you guys, we also have the O-level English model essay. Okay, it's very different from the PSLE one. We attached the vocab list at the end for both, so you guys don't have to worry about that. But yeah, it's different syllabus for two different levels of students. Yeah, so make sure you buy the right one. Yeah, for the O level one, we do include study strategies as well. So that is um, one of the more unique things about this book. So if you guys are interested and you guys feel like it'll be helpful, you'll you guys can make the purchase right now. But very frankly, it's very nice for students to have exposure to learning techniques at young age because it actually helps them to learn not only how to study, not only helps them to study better, but it teaches them techniques that will help them for life, right? So definitely, if you guys feel like there's something that works for you, you guys can make the purchase now. But for now, we're going to end the live because we've been on live for a long time today. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining the live. Thank you so much, and I hope